Shalom family, how are you guys doing? So this video is something that we all need to really pay attention to. Last night around 10 p.m., not that it matters, but I was watching a video on YouTube. I'm not even subscribed to this video, but I guess through like the algorithm, sometimes specific channels can pop up. And so I started listening to what the video was saying. And family, I always go where the Ruach blows me. And so if I'm led to just play the video, I'm going to. But I always try to test the spirit of the person that is presenting in the video. Because we know that our ear gates and our eye gates can sometimes be affected by unclean spirits and people. So as I was listening to certain things presented, it just didn't feel right with me. And I examined the countenance, I saw that there was a lack of eye contact, and I tested the Ruach in that person against what the word of Yahuah states. I did not want to lean on my own understanding at all, family. So I said a quiet prayer in my head as I finished watching the video, because I like to share and support other people's videos, especially when I feel that Yahuah is speaking through someone. And after I saw this video, there was an image that popped up, and it was this. And the hairs on my arms literally stood up. And that usually happens when I can feel, the Ruach HaKodesh moving, especially through me or around me. So allow the word to speak for itself. If I'm not mistaken, I had already shared Jeremiah 23, but I'm going to share it again because he's nudging me to do that. And this scripture is all about false prophets and false Mashiach. And so I also wanted to just add that false Mashiachs, it doesn't necessarily mean that this false Mashiach or so-called false Mashiach will say that they are that. Sometimes we just have to examine their actions and their ways in which how they exalt themselves over other people, proclaiming to be something that they are not. In other words, a person or a thing that has a following that worships them. And the reason why I'm also sharing that little added in, statement is because somebody asked me to pray for them the other day because they are addicted to sports, and they feel already, even though it didn't really start yet, they already feel that their flesh, their spirit is getting weak. They feel very tempted to, hop on to that same routine because we're in football season. And so family, know that can be like a false Mashiach in a type of way. If you following what I'm saying, listen with your spiritual ears. Those things can be that way. And in fact, I saw a video the other day on the basketball player LeBron James. And again, as he was, in this video, and the words that were being said, mind you, they had a little child narrate this commercial. I guess that's what it is. And I saw right through it. This is a false Mashiach type of thing. And so I'm going to be doing a short on that. Make sure that you pay attention when I do post that short. Just watch it. It's not a stumbling block, but this is just exactly what we mean. And what Yahuah says when he says, come out from amongst them, come out of her. And when he says many false Mashiachs will come and rise up in these last days, family, that is one of them, many of them. Okay. So let us read Jeremiah 23. Jeremiah 23. Woe unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, says Yahuah. Therefore, thus says Yahuah Alahai of Yasharal, against the pastors that feed my people, ye have scattered my flock, and have driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doing, says Yahuah. And I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all the countries whither I have driven them, and I will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. And I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, says Yahuah. Behold, the days come, says Yahuah, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days Yahudah shall be saved, and Yasharal shall dwell safely. And this is his name, whereby he shall be called, Yahuah Sidkenu. Therefore, behold, the days come, says Yahuah, that they shall no more say, Yahuah lives, which brought up the children of Yasharal out of the land of Mitzrayim. But Yahuah lives, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Yasharal out of the north country, and from all the countries whither I have driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. My heart within me is broken because of the prophets. All my bones shake. I am like a drunken man, and like a man whom wine has overcome, because of Yahuah and because of the words of his holiness. For the land is full of those who break wedlock, for because of swearing the land mourns. The pleasant places of the wilderness are dried up, and their course is evil, and their force is not right. For both prophet and priest are profane. Yeah, and my house have I found their wickedness, says Yahuah. Wherefore, their way shall be unto them as slippery ways in the darkness. They shall be driven on and fall therein, for I will bring evil upon them, even the year of their visitation, says Yahuah. And I have seen folly in the prophets of Somarin. They prophesied in Baal, which is Lord, and caused my people Yasharal to err. I have also seen in the prophets of Jerusalem a horrible thing. They break wedlock and walk in lies. They strengthen also the hands of evildoers, that none returns from his wickedness. They are all of them unto me as Sodom, and the inhabitants thereof as Gomorrah. Therefore, thus says Yahuah Sabaoth concerning the prophets, behold, I will feed them with wormwood, which is chaos, and make them drink the water of gall. For from the prophets of Jerusalem is profaneness gone forth into all the land. Thus says Yahuah Sabaoth, hearken not unto the words of the prophets that prophesy unto you. They make you vain, Yahuah says. They speak a vision of their own heart, and not out of the mouth of Yahuah. They say still unto them that despise me, Yahuah has said, ye shall have peace. And they say unto everyone that walks after the imagination of his own heart, no evil shall come upon you. For who has stood in the counsel of Yahuah, and has perceived and heard his word? Who has marked his word and heard it? Behold, a whirlwind of Yahuah is gone forth in fury, even a grievous whirlwind. It shall fall grievously upon the head of the wicked. The anger of Yahuah shall not return until he has executed, until he has performed the thoughts of his heart. In the later days ye shall consider it perfectly. I have not sent these prophets, yet they ran. I have not spoken to them, yet they prophesied. But if they had stood in my counsel and had caused my people to hear my words, then they should have turned from their evil way and from the evil of their doings. Am I Elohai at hand, says Yahuah, and not Elohai afar off? Can any hide himself in secret places that I shall not see him, says Yahuah? Do not I fill the heavens and the earth, says Yahuah? I have heard what the prophet said that prophesied lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed. How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets that prophesy lies? Yeah, they are prophets of the deceit of their own heart, which think to cause my people to forget my name by their dreams, which they tell every man to his neighbor, and their fathers have forgotten my name for Lord. The prophet that has a dream, let him tell a dream, And he that has my word, let him speak my word faithfully. What is the chaff to the wheat, says Yahuah? Is not my word like as a fire, says Yahuah, and like a hammer that breaks the rock in pieces? Therefore, behold, I am against the prophet, says Yahuah, that steal my words, everyone from his neighbor. Behold, I am against the prophet, says Yahuah, that use their tongues and say, he says. Behold, I am against them that prophesy false dreams, says Yahuah, and do tell them, and cause my people to err by their lies and their lightness. Yet I sent them not, nor commanded them. Therefore they shall not profit this people at all, says Yahuah. And when this people or the prophet or a priest shall ask you, saying, what is the burden of Yahuah? You shall then say unto them, what burden? I will not even forsake you, says Yahuah. And as for the prophet and the priest and the people that shall say, the burden of Yahuah, I will even punish that man and his house. Thus shall ye say, everyone to his neighbor and everyone to his brother. What has Yahuah answered? And what has Yahuah spoken? And the burden of Yahuah shall be mentioned no more. For every man's word shall be his burden. For ye have perverted the words of the living Elohim of Yahuah Sabaoth, our Elohim. Thus shall ye say to the prophet, what has Yahuah answered you? And what has Yahuah spoken? But since you say the burden of Yahuah, therefore thus says Yahuah, because ye say this word, the burden of Yahuah, and I have sent unto you, saying, ye shall not say the burden of Yahuah. Therefore, behold, I will utterly forget you, and I will forsake you in the city that I gave you and your fathers, and cast you out of my presence. And I will bring an everlasting reproach upon you, and a perpetual shame, which shall not be forgotten. Family, when you are listening to videos, contents, whatever it is, pay attention to the references that's mentioned, the words, the statements. Pay attention to the countenance. Pay attention to the fruits. Pay attention to the profane language they may or may not use. Pay attention to the infatuations of the worldly things they may mention instead of being concerned with the heavenly things. Pay attention to these things that do destroy Yahuah's sheep by keeping them in a fantasy type of world. We are not to reflect or rekindle areas that kept us in bondage when we were in the world, but we are called to come out of them and to repent. Yahuah is our only source. He does not require us or allow us to even receive information from Hasatan. If you are allowing a person who claims Hasatan has given them informations or the enemy told them something, then that should be a red flag to us. It broke my heart and grieved me seeing in the comment section how many people were falsely being guided by those who said they even heard from Hasatan. We were told to submit ourselves, therefore, to Elohim and to resist the devil so that he will flee from us. And you can read about that in James chapter 4, verse 7, family. Darkness and light, or evil and good, they do not mix. We know that because it says that in the word. There is no man that can serve two masters, for either he will hate one or he will love the other, or else he will not hold the one and he will despise another. We cannot serve Yahuah and Mammon. It says that in Matthew chapter 6, verse 24. Now, if those of you are saying, well, what is Mammon? Mammon is a demon that seeks for wealth and greed, family. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because if someone is also asking you for money or donations, or if you are led to give it, but they are not sharing messages, sermons, teachings, or any other works through the breath of Yahuah, the Ruach HaKodesh himself, then you are practicing idol worship. And you are serving a false Alua through their false minister or false prophet. Yahusha himself, he showed us that he was a doer. He would not take worldly things or worldly provisions for his service that he was sent to do, because he knew that his rewards had to come from Abba Yahuah. They had to come from far greater things that are from above. He knew that that was the true eternal Barak. It says in Matthew 22:17-21, tell us therefore, what do you think? Does the Torah instruct us to give tribute unto Caesar or not? But Yahusha perceived their wickedness and said, why tempt ye me, ye hypocrites? Show me the tribute money. And they brought unto him a penny. And he said unto them, whose is this image and superscription? They say unto him, Caesar's. Then says he unto them, render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto Elohim the things that are Elohim's. Family, Yahuah is not the author of confusion. That is his word. Sometimes we are listening to things and people are mixing worldliness and secular and the vain imaginations of their own heart and mind into what should be Kodesh. Beware, family, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. We know that because the word says that in 2 Corinthians chapter 2:11. We have to use our wisdom and we have to always pray for discernment. No one can say, oh, I have discernment, I have spiritual eyes. The word says that those who walk around and say that will be made blind. You are never too good enough to pray and ask for something that you think you have already. Repent from false prophesying or vain dreaming and return to Yahuah, my family. We have to be made clean. We have to be lowly. Some dreams are sacred and they aren't meant to be shared at all. And that will also eliminate the naysayers and the deniers of what you have received. But when Yahuah calls you to share something, share it at the appointed time he tells you to. Because we know Satan has ministers also who dream dreams and prophesy. That's why we have to know whose table we're sitting at when we're listening to certain things. Guard yourselves. People will want to fall away if they are going into agreement over and over with delusions that are told by these false prophets and Mashiachs, seeing that it was all a lie. Nothing came to pass. This is why we have to awaken blind ones. Be like little children. Be ready to allow Yahuah to teach us. Be ready to be made into a way in which we desire, we need him. We don't know how to do it on our own. We need his guidance. Come out from amongst any falsehoods. Yahuah tells us to follow him and his voice only, which sometimes is a still and small voice. But family, there have been times when Yahuah's voice was like a thunder, when it was an urgent manner that he had to convey to us. Know him through his word and through the time you spend with him in that secret place. Know when to pull away from the noise and to abide with him, and know when he is asking you to go back. It is like poison to our ears when we sit back and we listen to lies. And there are people that have become a stumbling block for Yahuah's sheep, even if it's unknowingly. This is why through prayer we ask Yahuah, search my heart. See if there is any offensive way in me. It says in 1 John chapter 4, verse 1, it says, beloved, believe not every ruach, but try the rakoth, whether they are of Elohim, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. And family, this is not a particular person. This is a spirit. And it can be in a child. It can be in a teenager. It can be an elder. It can be in a middle-aged person. It doesn't matter who it is. Test all things. Just like how Yahuah can use a donkey, Hashatan can use things too. He can use your phone. He can use your animal. He can use, a child, anything. Your own pastor. He can use whom he uses if they give him the access, if they are not built on that strong foundation. Baruch haba b'sham Yahuah Sabaoth ha'alahai yashara ulu'am alu'am. Family, I hope this word was received in love, because that's all I ever want to share in. Shalom.